Hey, what's up, everybody? Once again, my name is DJ, doing what I do, sitting back here on a Monday, chilling. And my bad for I know I took a week off. I know I hadn't posted anything last week. Had a lot going on, and also you guys got to start asking me questions, man. I'll be like trying to give you guys some content of things I think that you might think is interesting. But you got to give me some feedback. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Okay. But somebody did ask me a question earlier today and it ignited my mind. I said, okay, cool. I'm back on my video tip so I can go ahead and make a video about it. And what they asked me is how to get how it is then we talked about how to train for Krav Maga or MMA, but how to get in shape for MMA or Krav Maga. How to get in shape for MMA and Krav Maga. So I thought that was a really good question because it's not as elementary and simple as some people think. So I'm gonna go over three things that I think somebody should do in order to get in shape for MMA or Krav Maga. It's always three, sometimes more, but I'm just going to do three. All right. So three things one of the things that I do when I go to my instructor training or when I send people out to LA or wherever to go to instructor training, conditioning is a big part of our training. Conditioning beats class. Conditioning is a huge part of the training. So if you're not in the right condition, then you can't go through the training, okay? I always say that the better in shape you are, I ain't gonna say the better you can fight, but you can definitely fight better. Okay, so you can fight better if you're in shape. I ain't gonna say the better your shape, the better you can fight, but you can fight better if you are in shape. Okay, so I'm gonna go over three things that I do to train myself, and three things that I do to train my instructors when they go to instructor training, because instructor training is like 7 days, 8 hours a day, vigorous training, and then it's like a 6 or 7 hour test on the last days. Okay, so and here are the three things. Okay, and these are not different exercises or whatever. These are just three, overall things that I think your conditioning training should cover. Three things I think your conditioning training should cover. All right, cool. All right, so the first thing is your cardio. Now, your cardio means your lung capacity. Okay. Now that is no matter what sport you do. If it's a sport that requires a lot of lung capacity, whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's baseball, whether it's soccer, whether it's MMA, whether it's boxing, whether you're training Krav Maga self-defense, whether you're training jiu-jitsu, any of those things that requires a lot of movement, requires you to have a certain amount of lung capacity, okay? So the first thing I do when I'm training for, my instructor training, or if I'm training my instructors, or if I'm helping somebody getting ready for a fight, the first thing I do is get their cardio in order. You got to get your cardio in order, okay? You got to get your lung capacity in order, okay? And I'm going to tell you why you need to get your lung capacity and your cardio in order, okay? I'm going to tell you why. First of all, in order to learn a technique, like Bruce Lee say, well, I don't fear the guy who knows 500 kicks. I fear the guy who's done one kick 500 times or 5,000 times or whatever the number is. And pretty much, look, if you don't have a certain amount of endurance, then you can't even train. Like, for example, let's say if you're a basketball player, we ain't even got to talk about MMA and Krav Maga. Let's say if you're a basketball player and you're working on your layups. Well, in order to learn layups, you got to do 500 different layups. Well, if you get tired after the 20th layup, then how you going to do the other, 480? Okay, you got to get your endurance up. That's why before they even start shooting the ball, they start running laps. Okay? Same thing with Krav Maga, okay? In order for you to learn, how you going to take an hour class when you get exhausted in the first 10, 15 minutes. Okay. Now, of course, you're going to start building up your endurance as you take class. But, if I was going to do some other training other than just the Krav Maga training, I'm going to talk about doing some cardio work. Okay. Cardio work like some long distance running, and when you do your long distance running, I kind of do it like boxers road work. A lot of people don't understand about boxers' road work. See, old school boxers' road work, it wasn't just getting that runner's high and that long, steady. When you talk about what they call it, LSD, long, steady distance, that's not what we do in boxing and MMA or even Krav. At least that's what you shouldn't do. Let me give y'all some knowledge, okay? What you need to do is not long, steady distance, okay? You got to change your speed as you go. Long distance running, but at different speeds. Sometimes you run a little faster. Sometimes you run a little slower. You may stop, do some shadow boxing, run fast, run slow, because that's how a fight goes. A fight goes up and down. It just doesn't go steady. Now, when you first start off, you may do some long, steady distance just to get your endurance up. But once you got that endurance, you want to change your pace. You want to change your pace. I would say long, unsteady distance running. Long, unsteady distance running, okay? And then you can move on to maybe some short burst intervals, your sprints, or, your aerobic power intervals, and you maybe run for about 5, about a 10, do a barrel crawl for 10 yards, run for 50 yards, all sorts of different ways that you can work on your cardio. But your cardio is the first thing I would work on if you're doing conditioning for MMA or Krav Maga or any sport for that matter that requires a higher lung capacity. Okay. The second thing that I would work out is muscular endurance. Muscular endurance. For pretty much the same reason why you work in your cardio. You work in your cardio so you don't get tired as a whole. But you got to work your muscular endurance. I got people coming in, they runners or whatever, and they got mad cardio, but as soon as we start hitting them pads, their arms get tired. As soon as they start kicking the pad, their legs get tired, because you have to have a high muscular endurance. Again, what I do for myself and what I do for my trainers, I have them doing a lot of high reps, a lot of squats. You ain't got to do no heavy squats, 10 reps. You can do body weight squats, but you got to do a lot of squats. Get your leg endurance together. You got to do a lot of push-ups. Get your arm, triceps, and chest endurance together. Okay? You got to do a lot of slow side kicks. Get your glutes and stuff. It's a lot of muscular endurance stuff you got to have. That way you don't get arm worry or leg worry or shoulder worry. And when you're in the middle of a fight, or or not even a fight, when you're in the middle of your training session. Because we're talking about how to condition yourself for Krav Maga or MMA. Now, MMA is more of a longer thing. You got to go maybe 3 5-minute round or 5-minute round. Where in Krav Maga, a street fight might not last but 30 seconds. But you have to be able to train to get yourself ready for either event. So, you got to have muscular endurance, okay? So the third thing that I would start working on is my muscle activation, okay? Muscular activation. I came across muscular activation training probably about maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and it was a guy who one of my students used to train, this dude who used to play for the Wizards. And I was getting ready for my level 4 exam, and man, my elbows was messed up, my shoulders was messed up, and he took me through some muscle activation training, and I did not know how much. You got a lot of muscles in the body, right? And a lot of us don't even. It's a lot of muscles that you don't even work. And then if you sit down all day and, some of your muscles go to sleep. So you got to do a lot of training, with your muscle activation training. You got to train your glutes. You got to train. It's a lot of different exercises. I won't even go on. You can Google muscle activation training, okay? A lot of different movements that you do to wake up certain muscles. What does muscle activation training do? Well, it helps you with your movements. Like I say, a lot of students come in and they can't move from side to side. It's because they got muscle activation issues, okay? It helps you with your coordination. Because a lot of people can't work one body part and have the other body part still moving. They need some muscular activation. And it helps with your overall synergy of your movement. Being able to throw, a whole bunch of different stuff, that has to do with muscle activation, okay? So those are the three things that I would work on if I was training, for an event in Krav Maga or MMA or something like that. Now, a lot of times you will get all three by just training that particular event or that particular, I'll just say art, okay, or sport. So for example, if you was doing jiu-jitsu, if you did jiu-jitsu every day, then of course you're going to get real tired, but you'll be working your cardio, you'll be working your muscle endurance, and you'll be working muscle activation. If you did Krav Maga every day, you'll be also working those three things. If you play basketball every day, you'll be also working those three things. But if you really want to really get a lot out of your training, then you want to do that outside of your Krav Maga and MMA training. All right, that's a good offset of your Krav Maga or MMA training. Okay, so you can do your that way when you do your Krav Maga and MMA, you can just focus on the Krav Maga and MMA, and then you can do your conditioning outside of the Krav Maga and MMA. Same goes for basketball, football, or whatever. All right. However, however you're going to train, you train to the best of your ability, all right? Y'all make sure y'all ask me these questions. I want to keep my videos back going, all right? Y'all see I got my new shirts out so one may walk in peace, all right? Peace. I'm out. Oh! Subscribe to my channel, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, all right? Like, comment, subscribe, and send me questions, all right? Peace. I'm out.